Okay. Good morning. First of all, today is Chai Shevat, the 18th day of Shevat. It's a very special day, especially in our family. It's our daughter's 20th birthday. Oh my, 20 years old. That's very wonderful. Happy birthday, Rendalea. And I am very excited, but we are going to learn today the beginning of chapter 23. We are going to learn today chapter 23. I want to give a special shout out to our dear friend and Gabbai, Chaim Massoth, for allowing me to use his Chayenu temporarily until mine arrives in the mail. I don't know what happened. Chayenu is amazing, but they also have to work with the shipping departments. And that's just life, right? Things happen. So we have to deal with it. So thank God we have friends that also get the Chayenu. Many of you have the Chayenu. We're going to be on page 68. Chai Shevat, the 28th of January. We're going to give a quick recap from yesterday. I need my assistant to come sit next to me so we can, come on. My assistant today is Dovid, and he's going to help us with today's shir. Yesterday we concluded the 22nd chapter of the Tanya. And in previous chapters, the Alter Rebbe explained that from Hashem's perspective, nothing is ever separate from Hashem. The divine word, in quotation marks here, which creates everything, is unlike a word spoken by a human being. When we say a word, it becomes separate from us. Sometimes there's an echo. The minute we say it, it's out. There's a revelation of our thoughts. With Hashem, there's no separation whatsoever. What Hashem does is He allows us to feel independent. And this is because Hashem goes through all sorts of simtsumim, all sorts of contractions and veils until His godly light gets to this world. And therefore, we don't recognize God. God is hidden in this world called Olam. The world is called Olam, which is the same root word as hidden. So the logical corollary to this idea is that anything in which Hashem and the divine will stands to reveal is completely nullified before God and absolutely one with Him. From God's perspective, nothing changes and everything is united with Hashem. In this chapter, the Alter Rebbe applies this idea to the Torah mitzvahs, in which Hashem's will is manifest. He demonstrates how one can unite with God's will and wisdom and thereby with Hashem Himself. How? Through the study of Torah and performance of the mitzvahs. Okay. Ve'im kol hanisker le'il yuvan v'voyer heiteh b'teisev v'zbeir masha amra b'zayir da'iraisa v'kuch b'richu kol echad. In light of all that we said before, we can better understand and more fully and clearly elucidate the statement of what the Zayir said, that the Torah and God are entirely one. The Torah and God are one. So when we hold the Torah, we're holding Hashem. You say, well, it's really only the Torah. If you hold, this is from somewhere else, but I'm just going to throw it in here. How can you say God is the Torah and Torah is God? If you had a chance to hug the king or someone special, do you say, I hug their clothing? No. You say, I hug the person. Of course, everyone's dressed with layers of clothing, right? But you're still hugging the person. So when you're learning the Torah, it's like hugging Hashem, even though the Torah is like His garment. Okay. In the commentary on the Zayar, that the 248 commandments are the 248 organs of the divine king. The mitzvahs are God's innermost will, God's inner desire, God's true desire. Which is enclosed in all the upper and lower worlds, giving them life. So all the worlds are a product of Hashem's will. So He created the world because He had a desire for what? We'll get to that in a moment. Hashem wanted them to exist, and this desire is what brought them into being. However, this desire is an external manifestation of His underlying will, the desire for mitzvahs. When you go to the store to buy food, is your will and desire to go to the store, or even to buy the food, or to be able to eat the food? What do you want to do? Ultimately, you want to eat the food. But in order to eat it, you got to prepare by thinking, okay, I got to make a shopping list, got to get in my car, got to figure out which store I'm going to go shopping in, of course, foodery. and then you show up there and you go through the aisles and you buy the stuff, you take it, you put it back in the car, go back to the house. Some stuff has to go away for a different time. You select what you're going to get. You open it up, you put it in the pan, you cook it up, now you eat it. Was all that other stuff necessary? Complete waste of time. No, because if you didn't do all that other stuff, you wouldn't have the food on your plate, right? So what's Hashem's ultimate objective? We're going to soon see. But in order to get there, he had to create the world. So what's the desire? The desire is an external manifestation of the underlying will. What's the will? The desire for a yid to do a mitzvah. And why, in fact, does God desire that the world exists? Because it desires that the mitzvahs be performed. And this is only possible when there is someone to perform them and the world in which they can perform the mitzvah. So someone has to be there to perform them, and there have to be objects to do it with. To this end, Hashem created all the worlds. See that? So the world is like the store that we talked about. The ultimate goal is to do the mitzvah, but we need the cow, and we need the paint, and we need the thing, and we need all the different elements, the talis, the wool, the tzitzis. We need all the different elements to come together, which are in the physical world, because almost every single thing that we utilize to do a mitzvah is physical. Kikol chayusam b'shifam toli b'maaseh mitzvah shal tainugim kenoida. This very life and sustenance of all the worlds is dependent upon the performance of the mitzvahs by the creatures of the lower world, as is known that performing a mitzvah draws godly life and sustenance into all the worlds. We're almost done. V'ninsa, and it comes out. And it comes out. Shemaiseh mitzvah sikiyumim hu levush hapnimi lipnimis rotzen elyon. That when we do a mitzvah and fulfill the mitzvahs in the inner, and that is the innermost garment for the innermost aspect of Hashem's will. Since it is due to this performance of the mitzvahs that the light and life of the worlds issues forth from the divine will to be clothed in them. Meaning, since Hashem desires the world only as a vehicle for the performance of mitzvahs, as explained above, it is only for this reason that he gives life and sustains the world. So if we wouldn't do the mitzvahs, maybe he wouldn't sustain the world. But in reality, we don't look at that side. In reality, the reason for the existence and the sustaining factors of the physical world is so that a Jew could perform a mitzvah. And even a non-Jew who could do part of the Shevat mitzvahs b'nei noach, everything could be utilized in serving Hashem in any which way and in every way. So the takeaway for today is any mitzvah that you do is essentially you tapping into Hashem's inner desire. You got to look at a mitzvah in a different light now, completely different way. Instead of, this is what I have to do, this is a commandment for me to do, now we think of it differently. This is the whole purpose of the creation of the world. And by me doing this, I am tapping into Hashem's innermost desire. That's it for today. Have a good tevach. Oh, somebody commented. Your cousins in Manchester said, "We love you, Dovid." See that? Let me end the recording. Stop recording.